We gotta replace the minion by Falstad with the extremely global heavy comp.
10.
And that was silly, getting hit by that. You really should avoid stuns like that on the ground. Just in general, dodge skill shots. Just only walking into something. I'm not too sure about this fly being challenged right now. ETC just engaged on the enemy team. And it looks like his team is about to fight and he's flying off. Possibly could have waited a little bit on the fly. I don't think he would have even missed much minions. Nah, he lost one minion, speed-wise. But he put his team in a dangerous spot by rushing that fly. Really don't think that was worth it. Should have just waited to see how it played out, that fighter mid, and then flew. You don't want to jeopardize your team just for a minion. Bit of a mistake right here. Falstad isn't throwing any auto attacks at the Haka. He only has his W on, but he's easily in auto attack range. He could have harassed him this whole time. When you're laning a ranged character against a melee character like the Haka, you could win that lane. Just auto attack. You have to use those auto attacks. Right there. You just walked right into the Haka, standing right on top of him. As a ranged character, you cannot possibly walk into them like that. Like, you don't have a bayonet. There's no reason to ever get that close. I imagine he's going to take a lot of damage because of this mistake. Yep, and here it comes. Half his Alucart gone just because he walked up to the Haka. Really got to work in that kiting. Either attack move by pressing A, or do it manually. The problem with attack move, however, is that it attacks the closest targets. It does not prioritize heroes. So kiting manually is something that really should be gotten the hang of. Ideally, you want to stay at max range, your max auto attack range, away from the melee at all costs. Especially ones with no gap goes like the Haka. There's a lot of harassing you could lay on the Haka. Just auto attack him once, take a step back. Auto attack him once, take a step back. It's free. He can't punish you for it.
Warheads deployed. Form an orderly line for collection at your convenience.
That was a little bit better, but you could have connected much more auto attacks. There's too many steps back and not enough auto attacks to throw. You should kite with your auto attacks. Chain your auto attacks along with your movement. Don't just throw a single auto attack and run away. There's practically no DPS coming out of Falstad right now. Again, he put himself in jeopardy. He walked way too close to Murden. Look how close Murden is to him. This should never have happened.
Hero slain.
Looks like he's starting to get a bit more aggressive, which is the right way to handle this lane. Range against melee, you have to be aggressive. As long as they don't have gap calls or you're not being ganked or anything, just you need to be aggressive. Abuse your range.
Work order complete. Warhead fully deployed.
Again, walking way too close to Murden. Way too close. Murden's in Q range. They could have easily killed him right there if the Haka didn't walk away. Try to always stay at max auto attack range away from your opponent. Or at least as close to it as you can. Now, Falstad's global isn't being properly utilized so far. ETC's in this lane, which means Falstad does not have to soak. Instead, what he should have done is fly mid and pull off a gank. But right now, if we take a look at that mid lane, look how far out of position they are. They're in the middle of the lane. The Haka's even pushing it further. Falstad could have easily flew right here in this bush and ganked them for a free kill. You have to utilize those globals. If you pick a character with globals, utilize the globals. When you compare in someone like Falstad to Vala, despite them both having a lot of auto attack potential, a lot of ability damage, really, Falstad's damage output is a lot lower in return for his high utility on Gust and Fly. If you don't utilize the Gust and Fly properly, you're better off playing Vala.
Hero slain.
You're just taking a straight up DPS loss. Silly NTC engage. False dead gone. I'm not a fan of seeing that personally. Global is being used almost exclusively just to get to lane faster. Again, playing characters like Falstad, Stage Dive, ETC, Brightwing, you need to look for those ganks or counter ganks with your globals. Pretty common mistake right here. This bush was not checked. Generally speaking, when a lane is completely empty and you don't see them on the minimap, it's too good to be true. Just throw your Q like this, hit that bush, you'll get vision of it. Who knew? There could have been 2 people there, there could have been 3 people there. Why risk it? Just throw a skill shot and just make sure it's fine. A lot of help in Falstad was lost again because of not checking that bush. This is actually not common knowledge, but when you're pushing the minion wave, you actually want to kill the ranged minions before you kill the melee ones. The ranged ones not only have a smaller health bar, so they die faster, but they deal far more damage. The lane pushes faster if you kill the ranged ones rather than the melee ones. As long as you can't insta-give the whole wave, kill the ranged ones before you kill the melee ones. The exception to this rule is the caster minion, the one that drops the regen orb. He has less health and damage than the melee minions and the range minions. Kill that one last, generally. Unless you absolutely need the regen orb, then you're piecing the fuck out of her lane. Right now, the team is doing a boss call. Falstad's staying top and pushing though, making that boss call a bit on the risky side. Especially since he has Gust up, which is very key to securing the boss. This is just staying by yourself far too long. Generally, once you hit around the level 10 mark, you want to stay together as a team. And then depending on how things go, then you push or split off. But that team hasn't grouped as 5 yet, and they're level 13 already. Even if the enemy team's not grouping, you can take good advantage by being the team that groups. There's a lot of power in numbers.
Warhead deployment complete. Collection position.
Again, an obvious lack of auto attacks. He turned on his W on the Banshee instead of just auto attacking it, causing himself to take a large amount of damage for no reason at all. Those auto attacks have to be utilized. This isn't Probius, where the auto attack damage combined with their range just makes it purely not worth even trying to auto attack. Someone like Falstad does a good chunk of his damage from auto attacks. This is a misfire nuke. The center of the nuke does approximately 70% more damage. Despite it staying it does 50, it was actually tested to do 70% more damage. The center of the nuke. They're already taking the towers, and these towers are already gone. So there's really no reason for this. Instead, the nuke should have been targeted right here at the center. This would still kill the fountain instantly, but it would also do a ton more damage to that fort. Ideally, if you're able, you should aim that nuke towards the boss lanes and the center of the forts. Nuking mid is usually a waste. Mid's purely an XP lane. You want to nuke top or bottom. Those are the boss lanes. And your win condition on this map is push for boss. Almost every game, win condition, push for map. Push for boss on this particular map. The idea behind nuking the towers and the gate is that you can kill the towers with the nuke and that will give you an XP advantage. However, if you're pushing the same lane that you're nuking, there is no reason to nuke the towers. You will take the towers just by pushing. The towers are very fragile. In fact, the gate has more health than the towers do. Looking back in this fight, and looking back at the position in this fight, Hinder Blast would have probably been the better choice since Gust has not been utilized properly. Hinder Blast right here would be what? 1, 2, 3. And at 25-second cooldown reduction per target hit, that's what, 75? That's pretty good. Plus the damage it deals is pretty substantial. Although, with Gust, he had other option. If you look at the minimap, Gazlowe, they have vision of this whole thing. Because of ETC. ETC's positioning basically gives them vision of Gazlowe. So Gust could have been used a bit differently here. You could have flew behind them and gusted these two into his team. You could have gusted Gazlowe away from the fight. This way it'll be a 1, 2, 3, 4 into a 1, 2, 3. I mean, there's a lot of options, but just straight up holding on to your Gust and not doing anything in a team fight, that's not ideal. A lot of people have the idea that you gotta hold on to your ult. You have to save it for the perfect 5-man mosh pit or something. But that's not true. Getting a 2-man or a 3-man mosh pit is just fine. Same thing with Gust. You don't need that big 5-man, big what the fuck moments Gust. If you could split the enemy team in half with a Gust, your chances of winning a team fight significantly increases. If you're not comfortable with your ability to do that, or engage with Gust, hell, even to properly disengage with Gust, just stick with Hinder Blast. The damage on Hinder Blast alone will make it more worth it. Right here, if you look at the positioning. So let's look at the minimap. So Sylvana is down there. She's right here. She has vision of Gazlowe. They also have the red vision, the vision shrine. So they also have vision of Murden. That's 2 players. That's Gazlowe and Murden that they see. So that's 2 people that can't possibly be a top lane trying to contest the boss. So, and they also have vision of the Haka. So best case scenario, Rhaegar and Raynor right here into a 1, 2, 3, 4. Best case scenario. Worst case scenario, the Haka is by himself committing suicide. Which means that Gust, you were better off holding on to that Gust and just straight up kill him. But, and then, if Raynor and Rhaegar would have showed themselves right here, then you Gust them away. Because right now, what it looks like, all that happened was, you got boss anyway, but you also saved the Haka's life. Where really, the Haka should have been guaranteed dead right there, in that spot. For his greedy play. That goes back to that proper use of Gust. If you're not comfortable using Gust, use Hinder Blast. There's nothing wrong with it. Too much of his power is balanced around Gust and block if you don't take Hinder Blast. And not pushing with it's kind of silly. It's basically wasting boss. This is getting cleared out pretty fast. Ideally, if you do the boss, you want to push with the boss. Nuke. This nuke right here, complete whiff. It hit here. If 2 nukes would have shot at this keep, that keep would have been dead right this second. That might not seem like much, but it could have made a difference. Every second counts. Again, just like every other game I've seen, there's way too much team splitting. The team has to be grouped up, and they're just not grouping. This seems to be a major thing that can be taken advantage in these games. If you could convince your team to stay grouped, you could always pick off the enemy team. So Sylvana just had vision of them. He's attacking them. You could tell that Sylvana has a vision of Murden. They might not have vision of these 2, although Shadow Dagger is hitting them, so most likely they do have vision of it. But even if they don't, let's say they don't have vision of it. Look how close Falstad came. Look at this range. This is extremely dangerous. If Murden throws a Storm Bolt at Falstad right here, instead, what looks like he threw it at Sylvanas. If he throws that Storm Bolt at Falstad, they could just kill him. Just straight up just kill him. Just insta-give him. Because then he wouldn't be able to use his E. That was very dangerous. You cannot face check bushes. Use your Q to check those bushes. Again, I still haven't seen Gust and Fly being utilized. He could have flew behind them and gusted them into his team to re-engage. He could have gusted them out of that bush the moment they jumped on him, so, instead of trying to use E. Because using that E was a little dangerous. This is a giant misplay right here. So the nuke was fired at this keep, but they have 3 players dead. So right now, the red team has a win condition. They could either nuke the core and gall in the core, because they have a nuke. Nuke plus 5 players against what? Murden? That's not much DPS. A Gazlo? Same thing, not that much DPS. They can't really stop them. Would end the game. Or, the other win condition, the safe play, if you want to call it that, do the boss, and nuke this low HP keep down here. This keep in bottom, it's pretty low health. A nuke would kill that keep, and the boss would be on an open core, and they could just push this 5. Instead, the nuke was shot at mid lane. Doesn't really give any win condition whatsoever. Just a waste of a nuke and a waste of their spawn timers. You gotta look for those win conditions. End the game as soon as you can. The longer the game goes on, the more likely it is to throw.